things they will not teach you in school, but should. And I would know because I used to be a teacher, and I also went to a couple universities while I was wrestling. So I recently just found out about this, and I did some Googling to actually check, and it was right. It was right, and I could not believe it. All right, so I've talked about this on this podcast, and I've actually talked about this on my YouTube channel. And I saw this post come up from someone else on Instagram, and then I read their comments just because I was curious. And wow, how toxic were these comments. So this woman was talking about how, you know, these are several rules that rich people won't tell you, but I will. 1, inflation steals wealth. 2, pay yourself first. 3, buy assets, not liabilities. And 4 and 5, and yada, yada, yada. And I said that same stuff and did not get anywhere near the toxicity that this woman got. And I don't understand why all these people were hating on her in the comments for saying these things. Oh, these are just the same things that are said in this book. Think Smart, Grow Rich. And it's like, yeah, but how many people have actually read that book, even though they should? Not many. So stop messing with this woman for telling you things that even as you're messing with her and shitting on her, you're not even applying to your life. So like, who are you? You know, that's why I say responding to a lot of negativity, it's just pointless. It's just pointless. People would rather be miserable and drag other people down and be miserable instead of putting in the personal work so they can be positive and happy and successful. That's basically what it comes down to. But that lady, guys, she wasn't wrong. Buy assets, not liabilities. What are liabilities? Everybody wants to use that word. Liabilities are things that are more of a risk, not really a reward, okay? Liabilities are things that'll end up costing you money long term instead of making you money. All right, these are things that give you that that instant gratification, but long term they made you broke. You know, a lot of broke people will actually dress nicer than a lot of wealthy people. And that's what's very interesting. And I heard this black speaker speak on this, and he was speaking to his community, and people gave him so much hate for it, but I actually thought he was right. He said not a lot of people and not a lot of communities are poor. They just have poor spending habits. And it's true, because how good does it feel when we buy something that we really wanted, even if we only use it once, or sometimes we don't even use it at all? It feels great at first, but then it's like, oh, well, what could we have done with that money? That was what he was trying to say. And we have touched on this a lot on this podcast. And I got a lot of inspiration from him. He is such a smart individual. I follow his YouTube channel and everything. Like, he actually puts out so much smart information that they don't teach you in school. And one of the things that we talked about on this podcast is, first you make your habits, and then your habits make you. Okay, if you grow up around people that have bad spending habits, bad, you know, attitudes and so forth, those eventually get into you, and you reflect those outward. So that's why we say first you make your habits, then your habits make you. You are a sponge to your environment. If you're not in the right environment, you're not going to ultimately get what you want and where you want to go and who you want to be someday. All right, so liabilities. What are some examples of liabilities? Overly expensive cars, expensive jewelry, designer labels, fast food, addictions, so forth. Okay, designer labels, they're always coming out with the next model. You are never going to keep up. It's like the next iPhone, the next, you know, Hermes bag, or, you know, expensive cars. You got to get the Lambo, the Ferrari, the this, the that, the other. It's somebody on Instagram with $5,000 of cash in their hand acting like they're a big shot, but in reality that's probably all the $5,000 they have in their bank account. It's not $5,000 that they made in a day. It's all fake. It's all instant gratification. It's all keeping up with the Joneses. Those are liabilities. And a lot of people think buying houses are assets. They're not assets until you own them, which means until you pay them off with the bank. It is not an asset until it is yours. Until it's yours, it's an asset for the bank, not for you. A lot of misconceptions, okay? Once you buy your car off the lot, it's already depreciated in value, okay? That is not a great investment, all right? When you're eating so much fast food, that is a detriment. That's a liability to yourself. If you don't have health, then what do you have? Okay? You need your health first. And addictions, when you are addicted to things like Instagram, Netflix, fast food, alcohol, the next designer label, whatever it is, attention, this, that, and the other, you're spending without necessarily that same money coming back in or more. Okay? So that's a slight breakdown in case you needed one. Now, what I recently learned from this man that I was telling you about on YouTube is this factual figure system that he laid out. And I actually wanted to test it, so I went on Google and I did some math and stuff, which is like, It actually ended up being very, very true, and I was very impressed by the analytics. So he said, say, for example, you had a baby. If you invest $1,000 on the day your kid was born, right, into an index fund that sees a track record of an annual return of 8%, and then you add $100 a month, every month, for 20 years, by the time your child turns 21, that will have over $100,000. I was like, no, that can't be right. That can't be right. So let me do some digging here. And actually, that is very factual. It actually was under by a little bit, to be honest with you. I did some Googling and I did some market research and how long they've actually been studying the United States stock market and all that. They've actually been studying it for over a century, believe it or not. I did not know that. They didn't teach me that in school. So their market watches of trends studied for over a century told me that if you invested $1,000 after 20 years, that comes to about roughly $118,874. That is insane. Guess how much you would be making if you kept that in a savings account in the bank? Not much. Not $118,000. That's for sure. This is something they don't teach you in school. Just like last week when we discussed the 50-30-20 rule. They really should teach you that in school, but they don't, okay? Because they want you to be beholden to other people. Knowledge is power. And if you want to talk about all this empowerment that everybody's going on about on social media and everywhere else, talk about real empowerment. Empower yourself with knowledge, because a knowledgeable, calm person is more of a threat, okay, than a lashing out, loud, boisterous person, because those are usually the insecure people that really don't know anything, so they need the attention and they're all haughty and whatever, okay? A calm person in a room who knows what's up and knows what's going on is far more dangerous. Who do you want to be, okay? This leads us right into motivation, and this is the one thing I want to stress for this week. You have two choices in this life, okay? Two, just two. So listen up, listen good, and decide what you want in life, okay? What is your definition of happy and success? And which choice of these two is going to lead you to those definitions of happiness and success? Not what your mom thinks, not what your granddad thinks, not what your neighbor down the street thinks, not what all your fans on social media think. What is it that you want? How do you define happiness and success? What does that look like for you in the perfect photograph, in the perfect picture? What does that look like for you? Okay, you have two options. You can either get paid for the decisions you made years ago, or you can pay for the decisions you made years ago. The choice is yours.